Welcome to the No Expiration Date Podcast, the podcast for women 50 and better who are ready to shake things up, try new things, and live life on their terms.
We are your hosts, Cindy and Anne-Marie, two women who know that life after 50 is just getting started.
Whether you're reinventing yourself, chasing a dream, or just looking for real talk and good laughs, you're in the right place.
We'll cover everything from career pivots to wellness, relationships, and embracing this bold, beautiful season of life with confidence.
So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's chat, because the best is yet to come. Hey ladies, welcome back to No Expiration Date, the podcast for women who know that reinvention has no age limit. Today we're diving into one of the most empowering forms of self-care, financial wellness. Our guest is Melinda Adams, a seasoned financial educator and coach who's passionate about helping women take control of their money. Whether you're rebuilding, starting fresh, or looking to grow your wealth, Melinda is here to guide us with practical tools and mindset shifts that truly matter. Let's talk about how to make smart, aligned financial choices that support the life you want today and in the future.
Passionate financial advisor and advocate for intentional living, Melinda Adams empowers women and their families to align their finances with their dreams. With extensive experience in business consulting and financial planning, she's dedicated to helping others create a life of purpose and joy. Hi, Melinda. Thanks for hanging out with us today. So tell us what inspired you to launch financial wellness coaching services.
So I was in a company. I started off in corporate America, and then I owned my own business and sold it. And after selling that business, we got a big lump of money, a big sum. And it's like, well, is this enough? How do I know if I have enough? Maybe we need more. And so when I was going through that process, and I had gotten an MBA with a finance emphasis at Auburn University, and I really enjoyed finance. And I thought to myself, if I'm struggling with answering some of these questions about financial planning, retirement planning, and how much money I need, there are probably other people that feel the same way. And so I decided that I was really a calling from God too, where it's like, you got to use your gifts to help others. And this was a gift I felt like that I had. And so when I figured out I did have enough and I could really do anything I wanted, I really wanted to help women in particular with finances and being prepared for the future, to reach their goals, to live with intentionality. And it's been very rewarding. And so I went on from financial wellness coaching, which I still have, and became a licensed financial advisor as well. So,
Thanks.
So I can help people with investment planning and financial coaching. It's been great.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
So is that different from a certified financial planner?
Yeah, it's interesting. They make things so complicated. So a financial coach will really help a lot of clients with budgeting and saving. So maybe you're not where you want to be, or you have trouble with Amazon or spending, and you're just constantly feeling behind. So a financial coach can really help you figure out how to spend less than you make, how to save properly, to be able to just take control of your money.
Yeah.
Well, once you take control and you have extra money, financial advisor can come in and say, okay, here are some good investment options or some protection pieces that you might need. And then a certified financial planner is a type of advisor that can do holistic financial planning and a comprehensive plan to really look at your whole picture and say, are you planning for college? Are you planning for retirement? Do you want to buy a new home? What are all those financial goals, and how can we make sure that we have money to do everything that you hope to accomplish?
Okay. I didn't know they had so many different types of financial advisors and planners and coaches.
Yeah, a lot of resources out there, and wherever you're at, because again, some people might be struggling just to get out of debt.
Yes.
Other people may get sell their businesses or inheritances or large bonuses. I have clients that get stock, restricted stock units for their business from their job. And it's like, wow, I just got this big sum of money. What do I do with it?
Right. Yeah.
So wherever you're at on that spectrum, there's typically an expert that can help you minimize taxes, meet your goals, and plan for the future.
Which is amazing, because you don't want someone to be like, okay, let's buy Bitcoin.
Right. It's interesting because there are so many different ways to invest. And I get that question a lot because there's a lot of crypto and, real estate. It's like, what's the best place to invest? And it really depends. It depends on what your goals are, what your risk level is, when you need the money. So there's not a one size fits all that comes with investing or financial planning, because you really have to look at it and say, everybody has a financial puzzle, and how you put those pieces together are really unique. And so you want to make sure that your plan meets your goals and what you want out of life.
Okay. If you love doing financial planning, I bet you nerd out a lot by looking at everybody's unique circumstance and being like, okay, this is the best way that we can do it and everything. That would be fun.
It's the best part of my job is we have what's called a goals and dreams meeting. Because when you think about money or any kind of asset that you have, it's just to facilitate what's important to you and what you want out of life. And so it's really important for people to look at, and especially, women over 50. What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to do? One of the first exercises I do with clients is to say, where do you see yourself in 10 years? And not a vision board, which those are fine, but truly like, I want a real picture. Like for me, I'll be 61. My birthday's tomorrow. I'll be 51.
Yes, I did make cupcakes.
And so I write it down in vivid detail. I want to win a pickleball championship. I want to do international travel every year until then. And I haven't even played pickleball yet. I just know that by 61, I will be a champion. And
that's amazing.
I'm training for a triathlon. I want to be able to put my kids through college over the next. And so you just write it all out. And then you need a financial translation for that to say, okay, here's the life I want to live. What is that going to cost? What do I need to save for? Because a lot of times we just kind of go through life in a hamster wheel. It's like we're not, we're just trying to get the job, we're trying to feed the kids, or, get home and get a workout in. I think I read one time, if you do everything they tell you to do with meditation and work and family time, you need like 30 hours in a day.
Sounds right.
And get your 8 hours of sleep. I mean, it's like, you can't do it all. But we don't tend to focus on those big rocks, like those big things. And we just kind of slide through life and have these dreams, but don't necessarily see them come to fruition because we don't stop and plan. And, I'll tell my clients sometimes, it's like, I think you've spent more time planning your vacation than you have your retirement. Which I'm in a completely judge-free zone. Trust me, it's not judging. It's just like, but if we're going to put that much into a summer vacation, let's stop and pause and see what our future looks like and how much we need for that.
Yeah,
that's so important.
Yes.
What are some unique financial challenges women in midlife face?
It's hard. And ladies, you're there too with kids, and even women without kids. We tend to make less money than our male counterparts. We tend to have breaks in our careers that they don't necessarily experience. We typically volunteer more. We get sandwiched between taking care of our parents and our kids.
Right.
We typically haven't spent as much time learning about investing and planning for the future. But yet we will end up typically inheriting the wealth or growing the wealth of our own. And in that situation, it creates this perfect storm where we're not prepared, whether we have money and we don't know what to do with it, or we don't have enough money.
Right.
Either way, we end up in this position that we're not prepared.
Right.
And so when we think about those unique challenges, that's where we really have to take the bull by the horns. And regardless of what your relationship with money is, and sometimes I call it the ostrich syndrome, where we just want to bury our head in the sand. And you're like, you know what? I'll figure that out tomorrow. Or it doesn't make the short list, and it never makes the short list. It's got to make the short list. There's ways to make sure that we are intentional and that we have clarity, but we can't do that without planning. Yeah. And I highly encourage people, whether it's with a financial coach or an advisor, talk to somebody. There are so many advisors out there and coaches that would love to be able to help. And so if it's hard to take that first step, just have a conversation. Yeah. Reach out to somebody, have a cup of coffee. Just be like, hey, this is where I'm at. Yeah. Find someone that you can get to know and trust, and have that conversation and just let it build, take one step at a time. If you're in debt, just stop and say, okay, I just need to start spending less money than I make. Yeah. Let's get a plan for that. If you're getting close to retirement, say, okay, what's my number? Everybody has a financial independence number. Right. What is it? Figure out what that number is. How are you going to get there? And so I highly encourage people to reach out and don't feel like you have to do it alone. but not ignore it, because finances are something that it's a pay me now or pay me later. And so if you plan and you have a game plan to move forward, then you're much better to have success and to be able to reach those goals and dreams. So don't wait. That's what I tell people. It's like,
a lot of people ignore it.
Yeah, I do.
It's scary when you think about, you may think like, I know I'm not ready for the future, so I'm just not going to deal with it.
Exactly. And they don't necessarily want to know because they feel like they're behind.
Or embarrassed.
Or they're embarrassed. And that's why I always say, this is a judge-free zone. When I was fresh out of a job or fresh out of college, I had a good paying job and I bought this house, and then I decided to buy a bigger house. I was in sales, got a big commission check. Well, I'm building this house, and then, they're just like, upgrade this and upgrade that. And then they said, well, you could put a pool in too, and it's better to do it now. And I was like, tapped out. But I just got a credit limit increase. So I literally put a swimming pool on my credit card.
I mean, it's not awesome
25.
in a good way.
And so I'm just like, what an idiot.
That's one of those things, like, what would you tell your younger self? Like, don't put that pool on your MasterCard.
So my point is, we all have, I don't care what your profession or how good you might feel with money, there's always things we'll look back on and be like, geez, I could have done better there. But, your past does not define your future.
Right.
And you can decide, each new day to say, today is going to be different. Today I'm going to take a charge. And whatever decisions we regret, that doesn't mean that we can't make better ones in the future.
Right.
Yeah. So what does financial wellness mean to you?
There's really 4 components of financial wellness. One, it's you really know where your money's going. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you have a budget, but you understand how your money, I'll meet with clients on the coaching side, and they won't realize they're spending $1,000 a month eating out.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and this particular client wanted to start a 529 plan. I'm like, well, you're eating your kids' college.
Tastes good though.
So you want to know where your money's going. The second thing is you can absorb a financial shock. And Murphy is coming for you. Murphy's Law is real. If you have a car, it's going to need tires. It's going to break down. If you have a house, it's going to need maintenance of some kind. And so you really want to have an emergency fund of at least 3 to 6 months, because life is going to happen. Right. And you just don't want to have to put that on a credit card. Third thing is you really know, again, what is the number that you need to reach for financial independence, because at some point, you may lose the ability to work, or you may choose to stop working. And if that day comes and we don't know what it takes, then we may never be financially free. Yeah. We will have to work until we die. The fourth piece of it really goes down to making sure that you have an estate plan as well, because I can't tell you how many people, and I don't care what level of wealth, from negative net worth to multimillionaires, that don't have an estate plan. And then you put yourself in a position where if something happens to you, what happens to your stuff? What happens to the people that you love? And so to really be free, you also need to know that if something happens to you, you've got a plan for that too.
Yeah. So. I know when my aunt passed away a few years back, she didn't have a will or estate plan. So I had to figure all that out. But since she didn't have any of that, I had to pay an inheritance tax.
You did.
And it was a chunk of money.
A big chunk.
Yeah. They were like, $20,000, help us pay for our bridges, pretty much.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So estate plans, all that.
Inheritance
very important.
Can get taxed twice if you don't have one, which is probably what happened to you. Where, and again, I'm not a CPA and I'm not an attorney, so I need to make sure and put that disclaimer out there. But that when you don't have beneficiaries with certain type of assets, then it goes to the estate, and then the estate, there has to be an estate tax, and then it goes to you. And then you have to pay tax on it. So there are certain assets that with proper planning, you can pass on more.
And every state's different.
Gosh.
It is. Yeah. Every state is different.
Yeah.
I always think about Prince. I think Prince, when he passed away, he didn't have an estate plan.
Oh,
and it's like, holy.
Well, and I do jokingly tell people you do have a will. It's just written by the state of Texas.
Yeah.
So if you're okay with the state of Texas deciding where your stuff goes, and your kids, if you have minors, but otherwise do some planning. And again, it's another one of those things that we don't like it. I read this book, Your Oxygen Mask First, and he called it licking the toad. It's like, You just need to lick the toad and get that stuff off your list.
Yeah.
And that's part of it is just lick that toad.
Yes.
Yeah, I was really fortunate. My father did all of that. He had the trust. He even prepaid for the funerals. So, I mean, it allowed me to grieve and not have to deal with that. But I was just really lucky because when your father passed away, he didn't have anything set up too, so that you had that twice.
I did have it twice. 2 different states at least.
Yeah.
Texas actually was much easier dealing with than Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
So not to call out Maryland. I'm from there. I can do that. So how can someone shift from scarcity mindset to one of abundance?
That's a great question. And part of that is budgeting. And a lot of people think that budgeting is restrictive.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people, when they come to me, they'll think that it's like, oh, you're going to tell me I can't spend my money and I'm like, no, I want you to spend your money. I just want to make sure that you're saving enough too.
Yeah.
And if you think about budgeting, it is giving you actually permission to spend. So I love Ann Taylor. I buy way too much Ann Taylor. She's had her semi-annual sale. Me and Ann are tight. And I would probably spend way more than I do now, but I give myself an Ann Taylor budget. And I say, I get about $300 every couple of months or, every quarter. And I wait for the semi-annual sale where I can get 50% off. And I give myself permission to spend, and I do, and I spend it, and I get it half off, and it's great. I actually put stuff in my shopping cart until I have my budget money, and then sometimes it does sell out, and I have to be like, I hit the remove,
or they don't have your size.
It's a chance I have to take, but I'd rather get more because there's always something. But the point is that, and I have a vacation budget. I don't know where we're going to go, but I know that we're going to take a family trip. So every month I put money away for a vacation, I put a little money away for Ann Taylor and some other stuff. Yeah. And then it gives me permission to spend because I knew I took care of my big rocks first. I know that my financial independence is secure. I know my emergency fund is funded. And I know that I have this budget for the things that are important to me. And I'll tell people, they'll be like, oh, can I get this fancy car? It was like, well, can you afford it? If we have all of our priorities paid for and we're saving towards and we want to get the fancy car, great. Where it is a problem is when we don't have the big rocks taken care of and we still want the fancy car, the fancy clothes, and then we put it on credit and we let the credit roll. And so, it's just important to make sure that we're spending within our means. Right. And, there's a really great book called Stop Acting Rich. And I like that. I love that book. It's actually written by the same person that wrote Millionaire Next Door. And it just talks a lot about the fact that we will be fake rich, where we really
like that.
We buy a lot of the fancy things and someone looks at us and may think, wow, they're so wildly successful. Yeah. But if you looked at their actual net worth, all of their assets minus all their liabilities, they probably may not have a lot because they're spending it all on these fancy things. Right. So it's just really important whenever you want to feel free instead of scarcity to make sure that you're spending within your means, that you're giving yourself intentionality and clarity. And there's freedom in that. And that scarcity mindset can go away in that abundance feeling because you have that peace of mind that you've taken care of the things that truly matter the most to you.
Yeah, I agree.
What are some common money beliefs or habits that hold women back?
I believe that I see a lot of women that just don't take the time to educate themselves and to understand. And they feel like, well, that's too complicated, or I don't want to I don't want to study investments. I don't want to, I'm not good with money. That's probably something. I'm just not good with money. I'm a spender. And so I think it's important to identify where you feel like you don't have a good relationship with money. And then look at ways, whether it's working with someone or reading books, but overcome those. There was a point that I didn't feel good about investing. I thought, that stuff doesn't make sense to me. And, I just don't know about this. And then I just dove in and I started reading. I started talking to people. And then eventually got in this field with coaching and then decided to become a licensed financial advisor. And so it was a build and, over 15 years where now I'm just like, this doesn't have to be hard.
Yeah.
This doesn't have to be complex. And working and learning from somebody that can make it simple. And it's interesting because I work with people in the financial field that have done it their whole career. And so I do translations for them. Like, let me tell you what they're really trying to say. Because there's a lot of jargon in the financial world. It's just, it's like, why do they have to complicate that so much? And so I think finding someone doing your own education and reading, there's a lot of podcasts just on finance. And so I would spend time just learning and educating because there's truly very few things in life that will impact your success more than financial literacy.
Oh, yeah.
And so take time to learn, to find people you know and trust, to build that plan. And you can wipe out all of those, myths and challenges. You really can.
Yeah.
You just have to take the bull by the horns,
I like girl math. Have you heard of that?
I do think it's funny, but at the same time, it just plays more into that.
Yeah.
Where it's just like it is funny, but it's at the same time, you want to make sure that you get confidence. It's like be confident in your abilities. Everyone out there can understand and feel good about their money.
Yeah.
But it's like anything else. What did it take when you went to ride a bike? It's like you had to practice and you had to fall off your bike a few times. There's really very few things in life that don't take practice and trial and error. And your money's the same way. So
that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Like
I know with my ex, he handled all the finances, and I know that's we kind of rely on our spouse if that's their, because he's an MBA Auburn also in finance.
So like him.
Well, no War Eagle for him.
But he was good at it, obviously. So I just trusted what he did, and he did all that stuff. So now I'm trying to pick that up where he left off, where we separated, and it's
Well, that is you bring up such a great point, because whether you go through a divorce or a loss of a spouse, if life happens, it's so important to know where the money is. And it goes both ways if you're married. Because in my situation, my husband is the clueless one. I have said more than once, I'm like, I could rob you blind. So out of luck, And, but I take time to have meetings with him, print off a balance sheet and say, here's all our bank accounts. Here's my business accounts. Here's where our life insurance is. This is, where our retirement accounts are. And it's a gift to your family, whether you're married to tell your spouse, whether you're single and you tell somebody you know and trust, because it's a financial treasure hunt if you don't tell the spouse for that one. And it's very typical for one person to not be involved, but have those discussions so that people know if something happened to you, where to find the money and the insurance and those different things. And so I have my clients build what's called a legacy box, where you just get copies of everything. Get once a year, update a copy of the bank account statements, the life insurance policies, just the mortgages, extra keys. Just keep it in a box. And we have a digital version, so we'll digitize everything for our clients. And so it's nice because then we can tell them, hey, if something does happen at this point, just tell them to call Melinda. She has everything, and you don't have to worry about where everything is.
Right.
It's just still have those discussions, and the spouse should know. But having somebody, whether it's your advisor or somebody you know and trust, that has access to a digital folder of your stuff is a real gift to the family.
Yeah.
I watched this ID show where this lady was spending all of the money, and they had a business too. And the husband thought everything was great. And it was coming to the point where the banks were calling, like, you're not paying the mortgage and everything. And she ended up killing the husband so he wouldn't find out. I was like, holy cow. And it was a real story.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, wow, that's extreme. But still, I was like, goodness.
We call that financial infidelity, where truly, and it can happen on either side, where you might have a spouse with a credit card that's just in their name and they're racking up debt that the other spouse doesn't know about.
Yeah.
You have clients that might have gambling issues that their spouse doesn't know about, Amazon issues. I mean, there's unlimited number of ways that financial infidelity can play a role. And it truly, I don't know if the statistic's still true, but at one point, the number one reason that first marriages would break up would be finances. One reason, and second marriages was stepkids or kids.
Yeah.
But
oh wow, that makes sense.
It's that being on the same page and having those conversations, because again, it's perfectly normal to have a spender and a saver in the relationship too. Perfectly normal for one person to kind of control and manage the money while the other person is a little left in the dark. But have that communication and don't have that breakdown in finances, because it can truly impact a marriage in negative ways. So it's good to stay on the same page.
What's the first step someone should take if they feel overwhelmed by their financial situation?
The first step I would say is to talk to somebody, and there are do-it-yourself ways. So let's say the do-it-yourself. Do some research on, there's DIY financial planning, and one good really resource if you're in debt, because there's really, again, two sides of the equation. There's one where they feel helpless from not enough money coming in, got debt, and that kind of helpless situation. Dave Ramsey is a great resource on the baby step and how to, save $1,000 and then do a debt snowball and build up an emergency fund, then start investing. And so the first thing I would say is just when you're overwhelmed, don't look at the big picture. Look at one thing that you could change. And I read a lot of books. Another really good book is The Power of Habit and Atomic Habits. And they kind of come at habits at a different angle. But if you just do 1% change over time, it really grows and makes a difference. Yeah. And so, if you're in debt, it really can start with, okay, we're not going to eat out anymore. Going to skip Starbucks and just that little bit of change. Like, I'm not going to use credit cards anymore. Like I will tell clients, literally put them on ice, like in a block of ice in the freezer. Like, don't have access to them, because it's like having chocolate in the pantry, So get rid of that. So the other instance is like when you go through a life change, whether it's divorce or someone passes away and you're just overwhelmed by the fact that now you are in a position where you need to manage it. In that case, when there's funds but you're just not know what to do with them, highly recommend reaching out to a financial advisor, a financial planner, a true fiduciary that can just help you understand your present position, because everything just changed. And so you just need to take inventory. Right. What do I have? Right. How much money am I making? What are my bills? What do I need each month to make the ends meet? And so if you can't analyze where you're at, you don't know where you're going. Right. And so you just want to take that inventory first and then create some action items. Again, you can't do everything at once, but just say, okay, what am I going to tackle over the next month or the next quarter? And then take the next piece. And you just take it a piece at a time, so that as you work through it, you can take something that's very overwhelming and just break it down. Yeah. But you want to break it down and prioritize it. Yeah. So when we go through action item lists with clients, we'll say how important is it to you, 1 to 10, whatever that long list might be. Well, if it's a 10, and then we do a traffic light report to say, how much progress have you made? Red, you haven't made any. Yellow, you've made some. Green, it's good. Well, if we have a 10 red, 10 in importance, red, we hadn't done anything, that goes to the top. Yeah. So you think about what you want to do and then tackle the higher priorities and then chip away at them. Yeah.
I love that visual. Yeah. I mean, that's really, because it kind of is like, whoa, I thought last month I did well. But then when you have the visual, you're like, nope. Yeah. Put yourself on a Nordstrom budget.
And it's very easy to get overwhelmed.
It is.
It is very easy.
It is. And, and the interesting thing about it is you can be in control and then out of control. Yeah. And I tell people when they get off track, it's like go on a spending spree, or the vacation was twice as much. You just get back up on the horse, right. Don't beat yourself up. It's really I do the analogy of eating a lot. It's like you might be on a really great diet and feel good about yourself. And then you go on vacation, you eat a bunch of cake, and then you come back and be like, okay, well, I got to get back to my other habits. Right. Money's the same way. You might have a splurge. And you're just like, that's okay. I splurged. I can get back on the horse. I can get back to my good habits.
Right. Yeah.
So what are the most important components of a strong financial foundation?
So again, I can't stress enough, spending less than you make, really understanding what hits your bank account. I can't tell you how many people I talk to that really have no idea how much actually goes into their bank account, and how often they get paid. Sometimes there's like, well, it's every other Friday, twice a month. It's like, well, if it's every other Friday, it's different than twice a month. Twice a month, you get 24 paychecks. Every other Friday, you get 26.
Right.
That's why there's that magic third check if you're every other Friday.
Yes.
It's not magic. You're just getting less than the people that get paid twice a month. But really, you want to spend less than you make. The other component of a financial plan that, again, people don't like to talk about is if life happens. And so a lot of times people overlook life insurance and income protection and disability. And it's not fun to talk about, but it's such a critical part of a financial plan because we don't know what might happen to us.
Right.
And then what happens to our loved ones if we pass away or if we become disabled. And you're actually more likely to be disabled than to pass away. About 1 in 4 people become disabled. And you never think it's going to be you, but it might be.
Yeah.
And whether or not you need insurance for that or you can self-insure, you just need to be prepared. Maybe you have enough resources and money that if you stopped working, you're okay. Or maybe you can move back in with mom and dad. But you've got to have a plan.
Yeah.
Insurance can solve some of that, but you just want to know what I'm going to do if life happens.
Yeah.
Beyond that, really just understanding that how your assets are taxed. A lot of people don't understand about taxes on investments because there's really 3 types of taxes. There's income tax. That's what we pay on our income. It gets taken out unless we're self-employed, and then we got to do estimated taxes. Then there's capital gains tax. That's what we pay on our investments that we put in that's not in a retirement account. And then there's also estate taxes if you get to a point that your estate reaches a certain level. So when you think about financial planning, it's really good to have a lot of different buckets and know the tax consequences on those buckets. There's Roth and traditional retirement accounts, and they're taxed differently. So a good financial plan will give you some options on how it's taxed, and you'll know kind of what your tax obligations are going to be.
Yeah. I recently purchased life insurance this year, and because of my age, they're like, they wanted me to. I had to give them all my medication information. Which actually, when the lady took my information, she saw my whole medical history.
Yes,
I was like, what? But because of my age, I had to pay a lot more because I wanted a certain amount.
right.
But I knew what my budget was, so I had to drop it down $200,000.
Yeah,
it was so much.
Yeah, When I think when I turn 50 at the end of this year, it jumps up like $100 a month more.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's that fast.
Yeah. And life insurance is like a whole nother conversation.
Right.
There is multiple kinds of life insurance. And I would say for anybody out there that's looking at it, one, really understand what you're getting it for and how much you need. Because there's a couple of different ways to calculate life insurance and what role you want it to serve. But 2, really understand the different options. The 2 primary types of insurance are term insurance,
right,
and then there's permanent. And the difference in the 2, term life insurance is a lot like car insurance. If you pay on the car insurance and you never get in an accident, you were covered if you had an accident. But if you never did, you paid in and you don't get anything back.
Yeah.
So term insurance is for a certain term, 10-year, 20-year term. And if you don't die in that term, then you paid in and you got protection, but you don't have anything to show for it afterwards. You just had protection.
Right.
Permanent life insurance is something that will grow and have cash value. And there's good whole life and permanent insurance, and there's really bad whole life permanent insurance. And that, again, a whole nother discussion.
Right. Yeah.
But really understand, and each one can play a role in somebody's financial plan, but one might not be good for one person and one might be better for another. So really educate yourself is all I would say before you get life insurance. Work with somebody that will explain the different options to you, explain different amounts that might make sense for your family, so that you feel confident in that decision too.
Okay. So you mentioned budgeting, like doing the 1% and changing that one at a time. Are there any other like simple budgeting methods or habits someone could do that would make a huge difference?
Yes. And I have a worksheet. So if anybody wants the worksheet, feel free to give them my contact information. I don't like doing budgeting the traditional way.
Okay.
Because when you do budgeting in a traditional way, you typically have, oh, here's my housing expenses. Maybe here's my car expenses. Here, utilities. And budgeting, no one really likes to budget. I haven't met many people that just love budgeting.
Yeah.
And so what I like to do is break it down in 3 categories. One is recurring expenses. And I want you to think about those as they happen when you're sleeping. They're liabilities that you've signed up for, whether you make a penny or not. So examples of that would be your mortgage or rent, your car payment, your utilities. Again, they don't fluctuate a lot in value. Your mortgage stays the same. Your utilities maybe go a little higher in the summer, but by and large, they're recurring every single month.
Right.
Well, do we really need to budget those per se as far as like track them every month?
Right.
Not really, because we need to make sure that category you want to be 50% or less of your take-home pay. But if that's kind of a general rule of thumb and you add up all of your payments and it comes in 50% less, you're kind of good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the second category that I like to do for budgeting is daily expenses. Now that's where we're swiping the credit card. Okay. That's the petty and Manny's. That's the hair. That's the Amazon. That's the Starbucks. That's the Ann Taylor. Okay.
Running shoes for me.
Yeah. Me too. I love running. I'm a Hoka girl. And so that's the budget busters. One month we might spend $2,000, next month $500, and that's where we get in trouble. So daily expenses truly need to be budgeted. And that's going back to my Ann Taylor budget.
Yeah.
$300 every quarter or so. Maybe a little bump up if I'm, the season change. And with that category, I don't necessarily like to track every penny either. So what we do, and what I encourage my clients to do, is do it based on instances. So I'll give you an example with my kids. My kids would eat at Chick-fil-A every day if they could. But I tell them, you get twice a week. That's it. And so if I know that we're only going to go to eat out twice a week, and it might be Chick-fil-A, it might be Chipotle, it might be Raising Cane's, they kind of all fall in the same. I know it's going to cost me $20 to $25, to take my 2 kids there. It's really expensive these days.
It really is.
I mean, you used to be able to say like 10 or 15, but now it's 20 to 25, especially with the milkshake. And so I know that I'm going to spend about $50, a week because it's 2 trips. And then it's 4 weeks. And so I know that it's $200. And that's our budget for eating out. It's $200.
Wow.
And I don't have to track how much I'm spending on eating out because I know that once we go to Chick-fil-A twice, we're done. And it might be Monday or Wednesday. It might be, I keep a snack bag. And so to me, that's an easier way to track it. And I do the same thing for buying groceries. I do the curbside. I know I'm going to spend about $200 a week on the curbside. So it's actually up to $250 now. And so I have about $1,000 budgeted. But I know I do it every Sunday night. I pick up my groceries on Monday. I spend about $250. So if you can think in terms of instances instead of trying to get a calculator out, because budgeting a lot of times can be reactive. Oh gosh. Oh yeah. I budgeted $500. I spent $700. I went over, Yeah. And so you want to, whatever method you use, to be able to proactively know, am I staying within without having to, but there's also great apps out there that you could use to track. But for me, I want to keep the daily expenses in control. And we do Starbucks once a week too. It's our little date, me and my daughter. And so
that's cute.
But I kind of consider that quality time because I get to get all the tea. And so
we have a bad habit of Dutch brothers.
Yeah. So the last category, though, the third one is savings accounts. So if you think about non-recurring expenses, like Christmas, it doesn't change. It is December 25th. Right. But yet we have this January Christmas hangover a lot of times.
Yeah.
So I tell people, it's like, it's not bad if you can afford to spend, let's say $1,200, which is a big number, but just easy math. You spend $1,200 on Christmas, build it into your budget every month. Take money every month, put $100 away. And if you put $100 away every month, by the time you get to December, you have your Christmas budget. And that's what I do with my vacations. I don't know where I'm going or when I'm going, but I put money away every month so that when I'm ready to figure out where we're going to go on vacation, I got my vacation bucket. Yeah. So those non-recurring, if you're putting money away and you figure out how much does it cost? How many months do I have to get there? And I put the money away every month. Don't necessarily need to budget that either.
And it's not stressful when you go on vacation. You're good to go.
Yes. And
that's awesome.
So if you kind of break down budgeting in that way, and I have a spreadsheet that, again, makes it easy to do this. then it gets a lot easier because then all we're doing is just kind of managing the credit card. So does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. I need a taco budget.
Do you find that curbside is better for budgeting?
It is for me. I mean, I know some people that really like to go into the store, but I'm telling you, I
will pick up everything.
That's the problem. And they know that, ladies. And that's what I tell people. If you read the Power Habit book, these aren't bad companies. They're trying to make it. They're trying to not go out of business.
Right.
But they are going to advertise and get your money. They're going, I mean, I get Ann Taylor flash sales in my Instagram stream every night, but my husband isn't.
Yeah.
But they know that's what I like.
Right.
And so whether you're in the stores, the ads that you get on social media, they're all algorithm to target you and to give you a deal you can't refuse. And so you got to be like shields up a little bit and say, no, it's not in the budget.
Go in with a list.
Yes.
I had to do that with my daughter the other day. She wanted to buy this necklace and she took her whole life savings and her credit, her report card money, and she bought it. And then she gets a little allowance for doing work around the house. And, but then I think it was the same day she got the necklace. She came to me and she's like, American Eagle has these blue jean shorts on sale and I need them now. She's like, can I go ahead and have my allowance, for July?
It's a payday loan.
Yeah. And I had actually just talked to her about not spending more than she makes. And I'm like, no, Ava, it's an opportunity cost. You got the necklace of your dreams. You're going to have to wait on the shorts. If the shorts are still available in July, but we just talked about, we don't spend the money we don't have. Yeah. And you don't have any money. And she's like, you do. And I'm like, but you don't. So
lesson.
Yeah.
That's great.
You got to speak truth to the kids too,
Yeah.
How can someone build wealth later in life?
Again, every day you get up and live and breathe, you can make a difference in your future. And so the best way to do that, again, is to analyze, where's your money going? Is it going to the things you truly care about, or to the companies that are really good at advertising, marketing, and that you like it? And so to build wealth later in life, you really need to do that assessment. What have I got? Where do I want to go? How am I going to get there?
Yeah.
And it's an opportunity cost in that what we give up today, we might need to make a sacrifice now to enjoy something later.
Right.
And so you have to decide how important it is to you. It might be downsizing a home. It might be going with a smaller car. I had wanted to get the car of my dreams, and then my Ford Expedition died 2 years earlier than what I had originally had in my financial plan. Well, my plan is built on me getting my dream car in 2 years.
Yeah.
That bucket's not ready yet.
Right.
So, but my teenager's about to start driving. So, and we had her bucket ready. And I'm like, okay, I get to drive the teenage car. And I did. So we went ahead and got the car because her bucket was full, and I foregoed my, so it's a nice little ride. I mean, it gets me to point A to B. It's going to be a great car for her, when it's her turn. But I made an opportunity cost to say, it's not my time, and I'm going to stick to my plan because this works. And this, so that's all I would say about, you have to be intentional. You have to have clarity. You can't just float through and spend money and build up, and just not know where it's going if you want to build wealth.
It's too easy to spend money because we have credit cards.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm buy this now, $1,000. I'll just make payments on it. But then there's something else I want to buy now. And then there's something else I want to buy now. Before you know it, like, how did that even happen?
Well, and that's part of the challenge. And again, these companies aren't bad, but if you think about it, maybe just 10 years ago, 15 years ago, if you wanted to buy a pair of $50 shoes, you had to have $50 or a credit card. But now you got Afterpay.
Yeah. You can make payments on a toaster.
You can give us $5 for the next 10 months. And these shoes too can be yours. and so, but it's all intentional. It's the psychology of money that says, if I say that you can have a $50 pair of shoes for $5, sign me up. But all you've done is kick the can on the obligation. And if you remember when cell phones came out not too long ago, they would give you the phone.
Oh, yeah.
Now what do they do?
I miss those days. We have to pay for it.
You have to pay for it. And then what do they do, though? They don't say you have to pay $1,000. Oh, we're just going to add this to your plan.
Yeah.
So what have they done? They've put you in a position where they are constantly getting a revenue stream
That's right.
from phones, whereas people used to buy them and keep them.
Yeah.
And now they get a revenue stream every single month for the phones because people, you've traded in and get another
Yes.
one. So there's always
and
a payment.
0% interest.
Yes.
So it's not even a big deal. Yeah.
Well, it works for the company because it gives them predictable revenue. So, so if you think about a $1,000 phone, they're not going to know when you drop your phone in the water and when you go buy another $1,000 phone. But what they do know is that once they get you on a payment plan, they can count on that steady revenue.
Yeah.
So they're smarter people than us back there figuring out how to take our money. So that's why, again, that intentionality, clarity, the vision, that you have for your life and the ability to say no is really important.
Yeah.
Otherwise, those little payments just stack up like a house of cards.
Yes.
So,
speaking of Afterpay and payment plans on phones, what's a financial decision that you learned the hard way?
Well, I did so many. Well, did I share the pool story on?
Yes.
So
what was the interest rate on that?
Oh my goodness. It was like at the time, I think it was like 18%. It was awful. It was awful. And I thought I was going to get another commission check and that deal fell through. So for those of you on irregular incomes, don't have to come. So, but I think the other thing that I didn't, like in my 30s, so that was a big 20 something mistake. And in my 30s, I think not focusing enough. When you're young, I think that you feel like, retirement accounts, investing, like I'm not even going to live till I'm 50. Well, here we are later. Really fast. So, I think that you really need to put that money away and save, and the one thing I tell my girls too is saving is a habit. It's not an income issue because I tell them it's like if you do work around the house and babysitting and you make $100 and you don't save 10 of it, when you make $1,000, you're not going to save 100.
Yeah.
You make 10,000, you're not going to save 1,000. So people, and I recognize that sometimes truly things are so tight and people's situation change. There really is nothing to save. For a lot of Americans, we do have the ability to save or, things that we, again, could cut out to be able to put into a savings account, and we choose to spend it instead.
Right.
So I would say that that's just one thing I would tell people. It's like you have to work on saving. It's like a muscle you need to build and, make sure, because if you think about the prior generation, a lot of them had pensions. They went to work for a company and then they worked there 30 years. They got their gold watch and then they got their pension.
Yeah.
And most people outside of government, military, don't have pensions. And so the ability to ever retire and be financially independent is placed solely on their shoulders.
Yeah.
And so if you're never putting that money away and never adding to it, then again, you may work till you die. And not many people want to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my son has been really good about saving because I like that on him. Okay, you're living at home, you're getting paid. So how much are we going to put in savings and money that you can have fun with? Mm-hmm. And he saved all the money that he was getting pretty much, well, most of it when he was getting the education benefits through the VA, through me. And he wanted to get his car fixed and he had the money to do it. So I'm like, see? So now he's ready to put that money back in there because now he knows, he can have money for other things.
It truly is empowering.
Yeah.
And the peace of mind that comes with it. I think that truly is the best part of my job is when people do turn around their situation on the coaching side and when they reach their goals and dreams on the advising side and they send me pictures on their trips or when they reach their financial. Just talked to a client today that just moved into their dream house and, just like, thank you for helping us make this possible. And it's so rewarding. And I can promise you, whatever hard work you have to put into your finances and building towards, feeling confident in that, it is worth it tenfold.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the effort that you put into it.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we wrap up today's interview, we have a quick lightning challenge for you. It's called This or That. So you just tell us what you think is better.
Okay.
Budgeting app or old school spreadsheet?
I prefer the budgeting app just because it's on your phone. And if you're going to budget that way, you have access to it. You're probably more likely to keep it updated.
You can put that $12 Chick-fil-A in there immediately.
Yes.
Emergency fund first or pay off debt?
Emergency fund. You really have to have the emergency fund, then pay off the debt.
Okay. Coffee at home or daily Starbucks?
Again, it depends on if it's in your budget. If you've taken care of your big rocks and that's your reward, Starbucks is not bad.
Right.
You just don't want to be giving up something that's more important to you.
Yeah. Credit card points or cash back?
It depends on the offer. So Chase just came out with a great one that has points that can be used across the board, and then that they can for multiple airlines and different.
Wow.
I mean, it's a pretty neat program. So I think the points can be more advantageous,
right,
if you use it, for things that. The problem is a lot of people build up points and then they never use the points. So if you're a point builder and not user, take the cash.
Right.
But if you're busy taking trips, like we use our Southwest points all the time. And so it's very worthwhile. So if you're a point user, build them. If not, cashback.
Yep. Talking money with friends or keep it private?
With close friends, I feel like whether it's friends or accountability partner, share your goals.
Right.
Because it is proven that if you verbalize your goals and you have someone help you achieve them, then you're more likely to succeed. So share what your goals and dreams are with your friends. And then that's going to help you maybe say no to some other things so you can say yes to the more important things. So talk about it.
We already know the answer to this one, but buy now, pay later, or save and wait?
Save and wait. Save and wait. Got to act your wage.
Minimalist living or luxury experiences?
It depends on what you can afford and what your goals and dreams are. Luxury, if you've built it into your plan. I had a client the other day. They want to have a condo in Paris. They like an Aston Martin. I mean, they had some really big goals and dreams, but they've built this amazing company that's going to sell for really literally millions of dollars next 10 years.
So they can have that.
And so they can. So there's nothing wrong with nice things. There's nothing wrong with big, hairy goals. You just have to financially translate them.
Yeah.
It's when you have big, what's that saying? Got champagne taste on a bigger budget, So have champagne, but work for it, and it's okay to have beer. I have other clients, that had a lot of means and their goals and dreams. I was like, I just want to be able to read a book and sit on my porch and have a glass of wine. There's nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah.
If that is your goal and you want that peaceful life, that's great too. That's the beauty thing about life. It's whatever you make it.
Right.
Yeah.
This money is just there to help facilitate it. So, make it yours.
So one last question. What is one piece of advice you'd give a woman who feels like she's behind in life financially?
Again, whether you do it yourself or reach out to an advisor, get rid of that helpless feeling and do something take some action. Okay. I tell people it's like sometimes, again, income isn't enough on their job. Well, how important, you only got two knobs you can turn. You get your income up or your expenses down.
Yeah.
If your expenses are as down as far as they can, you got to get your income up. And it might mean side hustles. It might be doing, and again, I know there are circumstances out there and I'm not trying to diminish any of them, but if there are options, do the hard thing, embrace the suck and do hard things, because if you can grit and work hard for where you want to be, a lot of times there can be a path to get there.
Yeah.
And so, brainstorm with friends, find an advisor. But there are ways to improve your situation. And so you might seek some outside advice on, just what those options are. And ChatGPT is amazing too, ladies. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I chat that too. I do too. And not as much for my job, but just I just went to Montreal for a girls' trip and Chat built a whole itinerary and gave me all the places to go. So anyway, do something about it though. If you feel helpless, you don't have to stay there, but take some action.
Yeah.
Do it yourself, chat it, talk to a friend, find an advisor. Figure out what you got, where you want to go, and how you're going to get there, and then just take it a bite at a time.
That's excellent advice.
Yes. So how can people find you if they want to hire you as an advisor?
Well, I would love to work with anyone on the coaching or advising side. My cell phone is available. The one I gave you there was my work phone, but my cell phone's 210-701-9166. I'm also on Facebook, Melinda Adams Financial Advisor. And I'm on LinkedIn, Melinda Adams. And my office is down by the airport. And I'm just happy to have conversations. I love helping women. I love helping people with finances, wherever they're at in their journey. I truly do it because I love it. That is my only goal, is to help people get to a better place and reach their goals. But I am on Facebook, LinkedIn, email. My personal one's melinda.adams@yahoo.com. That one's really easy as well, but feel free to reach out. Great.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Y'all are amazing.
Yes.
The No Expiration Date Podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are our own and do not constitute professional advice. While we strive to provide accurate and up-to-date information, we make no guarantees regarding the completeness, reliability, or accuracy of any content. This podcast should not be considered a substitute for professional guidance in any area, including legal, financial, business matters. Any actions taken based upon the information presented are at your own risk. Listener discretion is advised, and all content is shared in good faith for entertainment and informational purposes only.